The true test of a person's character, I believe, is do they do what they say they're going to do? Or do they get angry at you for no good reason and then, take it back or break their word and then blame you for it? I've still got these. I finally found my AirPods case. It was in my purse all along. Hi. There's something else I wanted to talk about real quick before a couple other things. In my spare time and my workouts and stuff like that, I've been listening to some things on YouTube, as I do. One of them is this video, and they stated a concept which I've always really inherently believed, but I kind of forgot about, which is that people will respond to you. How do I word this? Because it's not like verbatim, but people will respond to you based on your concept of how they are. Like, basically, you treat them with how you think they are, and they'll respond to you in that sort of frequency. Like, generally speaking. And it's sort of like, well, you can treat somebody with the concept of, in a positive way, and they'll respond to you in a positive way. That sort of a thing. Anyway, it went on and on about other things, but I thought that was very interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk about was just that, there's this concept of attachment styles, and I gotta look at that little dot right there. There's this concept of attachment styles, and I think there's like 4 or something like that, which, it kind of makes sense in a way. And there's like secure, avoidant, anxious attachment. Secure is like where you like, you can, be with someone, you really enjoy their company, and then you can also you can have love for somebody, but you also are not like completely dependent on the other person, like, for yeah, and so, like, you can be independent, but you can also have mutual love and trust with somebody, and you don't have to, like, you're not worried about it, and that they'll always, like, you trust somebody, and like, they'll always come back to you, and blah blah blah. And then anxious is sort of like, well, it's like the worst state to, well, actually, it's one of the worst. But you're there's like this fear of abandonment, and you're nervous about being abandoned or cheated on or whatever, and you're just like, you don't feel secure with it. You want to, but, or maybe you want to, but you feel it's like this in the chest kind of a thing, like this anxiety. Oh my God, it's horrible. And I've been there. It's horrible. Okay, I've got to remember to say that other thing. And it's horrible after you've been in like a secure style, and then through life events or whatever, you become this anxious mess, and it's really horrible. And it's almost like it's like a dwindling spiral, like you can't control it. And it's fuck these hairs. Just pull it out. Okay, stop tickling my when I have lip gloss. And there's, oh, I should have turned the fan off. So sorry. So it's sort of yeah, so I've sort of like, you know, from an exterior view, kind of took a bird's eye view on myself and like watched my own dwindling spiral on this whole thing. And, you know, they talk about how like, oh, you know, like whatever attachment style you have is rooted in, you know, events from your childhood and how you were treated as a child. And, you know, that's how you learn to be loved or to crave love or to whatever, or to be dismissive of love, or to be, you know, or to process your emotions in a healthy way, or to process them in a very unhealthy and suppressive way, like suppress them, or, you know, lash out or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to, I was at the gym earlier, and I was listening to this guy, this French dude, talking about these different attachment styles. And I've heard about it before, but what he was saying kind of made sense. And without like, you know, copying what he said or whatever. He said he used to be a dismissive, avoidant, whatever. And he says that like basically the avoidant, you know, they may not necessarily be a narcissistic person, but they in their childhood, they never were really fully, sorry, getting a little emotional talking about this because I have kids, and I think like I had a mixture of this and the other. Well, I'll get to that. They were never really like cared for emotionally as a child, like, you know, with their emotions, it was either like suppressed or ignored, or their parents were like too busy or whatever to really fully be there and be empathetic with them and let them have their emotions, but also just you know, to kind of like help coach them on how to manage their own emotions as well. So, okay, so myself, I have noticed that, it's hard to talk about this. I have noticed that I have this fear of abandonment that comes up a lot, and my mother died when I was well, no, let's go back before that. I was adopted as a baby, little baby. And my mother, my birth mother, she was an unwedded mother already of a 6-year-old girl. She got pregnant with somebody who, when they found out she was pregnant, they said, "See you later. I don't want any part of that." So she went to my mom and dad, my adoptive parents, who I consider my real family, but she went to them. They were friends. They talked. She decided to have the baby, me, and anyway, June and John agreed to pay for all her medical bills and then take the baby. My mother and father were kind of an odd couple. My mother was much older than him. In fact, my dad lied to me about how old she actually was when I was a teenager. I know this because I saw her death certificate one day. She was a lot older when she died. She died from breast cancer when I was 4. Anyhow, growing up, my dad was always, I know that he struggled with her death. And he would often just become silent with me. And I could see that he was having difficulty processing or just, even functioning sometimes. I remember one day as a 4 or 5-year-old, I sat on the chair next to him, sat on his knee or whatever. And I said, "Dad, I was really concerned about him actually." Because he would just sort of like mentally shut down and just kind of sit there and sort of stare into space. And he smoked. He would, sit there and smoke and just kind of stare into space sometimes. And I would try to, in my, little 4 or 5-year-old ways, to get him to cheer up and stuff like that. But anyhow, but he was always really, he was sometimes a bit strict with me, but at the same time, he was very loving. He told me he loved me every day. There were times when I would, throw a tantrum. Well, it wasn't that often, but if I threw a tantrum or something, he'd be like, no, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get your way with me if you, but then there were other times where he was empathetic with me and would let me cry on his shoulder and give me hugs and comfort me if I was upset about something or whatever. So let me try and hurry up. But as I got older, the other thing of it was I moved around a lot growing up, and that was very hard on me because of having to give up close friendships along the way, and then the loss. And it was like, my heart took a beating over and over. It just was like I'd finally get comfortable somewhere, and then we'd have to move. I'd finally, start to make some friends and find some people that I fit in with, and then we'd have to move. And so it was like I was constantly in this sort of mode of like, well, it's just going to end anyway, so blah, and it's just like, anyway, then skip forward, we moved back to Australia when I was about 15, and that was very difficult for me. When I was about 16 or 17, I was a rebellious teenager. But anyway, when I was 16 or 17, my dad left the country for 2 years. Didn't take me with him, left me there. And I felt very alone. And I, looking back on it, I felt very abandoned. I didn't have a lot of friends at the time either. For a while, I didn't have a job, and I was like living off of government payments, and then, trying to find a job, and then I did find a job, and then, slowly but surely, but I had to be like very independent and, just sort of take care of myself kind of a thing. And then, so, and then over the years, I think there were experiences that kind of like compounded on this like fear of abandonment thing. Anyhow, skip forward, being in a long distance relationship with somebody who I loved very, very much, was really hard on me, because I did, from the very beginning, I completely trusted him. Like in the beginning, I felt like I was I felt very secure with it. Excuse me. My favorite thing to do is laugh, basically, and most of the time I laugh at myself. Okay, so I was very secure. However, there were little things, sometimes big things, but little things along the way that over the 5 or 6 years that slowly eroded my trust, and just things, broken agreements and whatever. But I still believed in it. I still believed that it was real, and it was, oh, my friend's coming over, going to the UPS, and then I'll be over. Okay, I better hurry up. I was going to make another work video, but oh well. Anyway, so that whole like, fear of abandonment thing kind of started to come into play when I would like find out that he's still tracking his ex-wife's location on an app, and I'm like, what? Really? Like, what? I thought it was just you and me. Like, and then just other little things. That happened a couple of times, and I said, hey, like, at first, when I first found out about it, I tried to be a little bit like, okay, but like, I was still like, hey, that's not cool with me. Like, it's supposed to be just you and me. Like, well, what's going on? But I, was just like, no, like, come on. And then it happened again another time. And then there were things like he would go to see her and wouldn't tell me about it, and and over time that starts to erode trust. And then I started to become very anxious about it all, and hurt by things, and slowly I started to become like, was degraded into this concept of someone who I felt like that's not me. Anyway, what I would like to also say, okay, so, and then I think by me becoming more anxious, he started becoming more avoidant and more dismissive, and it's just like this cycle of like, just this toxic cycle. And if we were ever to resolve things for the better, I'm sure we could. We could totally do that, but it'd have to be not on a long distance thing. It'd have to be like, for real, in person kind of a thing, because I think the long distance actually it distorts the reality of the other person a little bit. And also, here's the other thing, is that your brain waves and your moods fluctuate at different times of the day. And, you're like your moods and, you know, like you it fluctuates different times of the day. And especially when you're like in totally completely different hemispheres, different time zones. Can you imagine if you were like across the other side of the universe? Oh my god. Anyways, but like just it and then you're on one wavelength and your partner's on another wavelength because they're in their evening, and you're in this like go 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 kind of a thing or whatever, like in the middle of the day because you got lots of energy, blah blah blah, or whatever it is, and your partner is like winding down for the evening, la 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 la, and it's, or whatever, staying up late and watching movies and stuff, whatever, so you're in this different so it like puts a different it like this, with your energies and stuff, and you can't really like, it can be anyway, like sometimes hard to like synchronize that, like even if you're just trying to be like friendly or whatever. Anyways, like it can be, I think the distance distorts the communication, the reality, and the affinity a bit, quite a bit sometimes. So if it were ever actually to have a rebirth, then it would definitely have to be in the same time zone, in the same location, and not long distance, committed, no cheating, no lying, no seeing other people, respect, courtesy, compliments, and things of that nature. I gotta go. I have a friend named Charity, and she's coming over. She's gonna give me some charity. Bye.